Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Gabor Sulok, the owner and the lead trainer at Bdat.ACADEMY, and I'm really excited to share you something special with you today. In this short conversation, we'll be talking about a new training course that was creating from Eric Jager's book, The Getting Started with Enterprise Architecture. You will hear about how the training came to life, why we felt it was needed, and what you can expect to see and hear during the session. So at Be That Academy, our mission is to make complex architecture topics accessible, practical, and applicable. Exactly what this collaboration is about, turning the great ideas from Eric's book and the EA wheel methodology into a clear, structured, and practice-oriented learning experience. So, Eric, would you briefly introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Gabor. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Erik Jager. I'm the author of the book Getting Started with Enterprise Architecture. I'm also a certified master architect and TOGAF practitioner as well. I lecture at the Eindhoven University on technology about architecture, and I like to focus on the practical and pragmatic application of the profession. And I'm very happy to share with you the story of how this training course came about.
So, when I first came across the Getting Started with Enterprise Architecture book, it immediately stood out to me because I was really looking for something that explained enterprise architecture in a structured, practical, clear way, connecting theory with the real work. Few months later, I had the pleasure meeting with you, Eric, at the Open Group Summit in Amsterdam. We talked about the group book. I told you how much I liked it and how we approach this similarly at Be That Academy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm very glad that you did too, because it gave us the opportunity to work together to create this training course. And I believe it will benefit many people who are looking for this more accessible approach to enterprise architecture.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Eric, may I ask if you could tell us a little bit more about the story behind the book?
Yes, well, over the years, I've worked for various organizations and I've seen firsthand how enterprise architecture is applied in practice. And what struck me was that there is this gap between theory and practice. So I started investigating the reason behind this discrepancy, and I concluded that many organizations lacked a clear understanding of how to begin working with architecture. So most organizations try to apply the theory that is described in architecture frameworks as comprehensively or on as large a scale as possible. And that is where many organizations actually go wrong. So recognizing this as the primary cause of failed architecture initiatives, I wrote a book presenting an approach that organizations can use to begin working with architecture. And the book helps organizations to focus on building a solid foundation first.
Yeah, fully agree with you. And can you share with us what inspired you to write it in the first place and how it was received in general?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, this lack of clear understanding of how to practice architecture is what drove me to investigate the reason behind it. And initially, I thought that it would be a great topic for an upcoming blog post, but it quickly turned into a book I actually kept on writing. And I think the book's narrative style is what adds to its success. So, unlike other books that describe architectural theory, this book reads like a story rather than a reference work, avoiding a kind of static writing style, if you will. So, the language that is used is also very accessible, and difficult words and excessive jargon are deliberately avoided, and terms and definitions are explained in plain language, in plain English, actually. Another factor contributing to the book's popularity is that the described method or approach can be easily applied to any organization. So the enterprise architecture implementation wheel is limited to the basics, to a foundation with a manageable number of stages, steps, and key focus areas. And I think this keeps it clear and very straightforward.
Yeah. And finally, why did you decide to create the training course with us and why you feel that this training adds a real value for the participants?
Well, as you mentioned, we met a little while ago in Amsterdam. And even before that we actually met in person, we've been in contact through this well-known social platform. And then we exchanged ideas and you gave me your feedback on the book. And from that, I gathered that you were very eager to share the book's straightforward approach with a larger audience. And I felt that you were really into it, and that sparked my own enthusiasm. So when you proposed to develop this training course based on the book, of course, I could not say no. So now let's switch seats so that the viewers can learn a thing or two about you and what drives you. So, like you said, we met at the Open Group Summit in Amsterdam recently, and we talked about the idea of creating a training course. Can you tell us what was the main reason that Bdat.ACADEMY invested in this course?
Yeah, well, I have read your book before, of course, but it was only in Amsterdam that I really got to meet the person behind it. So the ideas in your book already stuck with me, but meeting with you in person brought those ideas to life. So you were so kind enough to spend several hours then and since explaining your thinking, your approach, and how you see the position of enterprise architecture. So, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to share your insights. At Bdat Academy, we've been passionate about making architecture education practical, approachable, and your book perfectly captures that spirit. So that's why we decided to invest in turning it into a course to make those principles teachable, interactive, directly usable for professionals, especially for those just starting the practice.
Well, of course, it's been my pleasure to share these thoughts and ideas with you. And I'm just glad to give back to the architecture community and help aspiring architects become even better. Now, can you tell a bit more about this growing need that you see in the EMEA market for training courses that are easily accessible?
Yeah, absolutely. So across the EMEA region, we work with organizations the very different level of maturity. So most advanced ones in Western Europe and others that are still developing their architecture capabilities, practices, especially in our region, Central Eastern Europe, as well as in the Middle East. Interestingly, we also see that many African countries have already started adopting enterprise architecture practices, and in several places, it's even becoming a legal requirement to establish such a framework. So, the overall momentum across the region is clearly growing. So, what we see constantly it is that many organizations, both large enterprises, small enterprises, struggle to start their architecture journey effectively. Enterprise architecture is no longer seen as a purely technical or IT discipline. So that's why we designed this training to be delivered in just 2 days in an interactive and directly applicable format so participants can immediately put into practice what they just learned their organization context.
Well, that sounds really helpful. And I think interactive trainings allow for a lot of participation, which then helps trainees to absorb the material even better. So, what are your hopes that the trainees will learn or take away from this particular training course?
Yeah, my biggest hope is that participants will leave the course with a real sense of clarity and confidence, that with a feeling that I can actually start doing this. So many professionals have already heard or studied the theory of enterprise architecture, but they often struggle with how to put it into practice. So that's exactly what this training is designed for. After a short theoretical introduction, very much likely in your book, we move quickly into the hands on exercises and the case studies so participants immediately apply what they just learned, and that's where the real learning happens. So, if by the end of the course they can look at their own organizations and say, now I know where to start, how to move forward, then we have achieved what we just set out to do.
Well, thank you, Gabor. That was really inspiring. And as you said, a more practical approach to enterprise architecture is needed. I firmly believe that. And I also believe that our training course will perfectly match this growing demand.
Yeah, absolutely. That was really the turning point. After our discussion in Amsterdam, we realized that we share the same vision, making enterprise architecture clear, practical, pragmatic, something that can be easily understood and applied in real organizations. So that's how the idea and the decision was born to turn the book ideas into a training course together. And that naturally brings us to the training itself, getting started with enterprise architecture. So it's built directly on the foundation of your book. So who's better to explain it than you?
Yeah, I think the training course, like you mentioned, based on the book, Getting Started with Enterprise Architecture. And the book's main objective is to present essential enterprise architecture concepts to the readers in a very practical and pragmatic way. Now, although there is a lot of information and theory on enterprise architecture, I really wanted to focus just on the fundamentals. And the training course follows this outline and addresses those fundamentals in relation to the book. Central to the book is the enterprise architecture implementation wheel, which is also featured prominently in the training course.
Yeah, it's a great overview, Eric. Thank you. And in terms of the format, the course is 2 day online or on-site training that was designed to be highly interactive. We combine short theoretical introduction with case studies, practical exercises, so participants can apply what they just learned immediately. So it's very much like a learning by doing experience. As for the audience, the training is ideal for enterprise architects, business analysts, IT leaders, managers, really everyone who wants to understand how to make architecture practical and actionable within their organizations.
Yeah, and I think the main benefit of this training course is its practical applicability, because throughout the course you will learn all the essential aspects of enterprise architecture in this really easy to understand way. And this training provides a very clear framework for working with enterprise architecture. So we will tell you what you need to know and provide you with the practical tools that you need to get started right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much, Eric. And I think that perfectly sums up what makes this course so valuable. It's really a complete journey from the book to a practical learning to real world implementation. So, our goal is for participants not only to understand enterprise architecture, but to leave with the skills and the confidence to apply it immediately in their own organizations. And perhaps the best part is that we both deliver the training, so there are no unknown faces. So you will learn directly from Eric and from me at Bdat.ACADEMY, making this a truly personal and hands-on experience. So thank you very much, Eric, and thank you all for watching. Join Eric and me by registering through the link below, and we are really looking forward to meeting you in the upcoming session of Getting Started with Enterprise Architecture. And if you would like to stay connected, you can also find both of us on LinkedIn. We're always happy to continue the conversation there. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you, Eric.